Hey folks, back again. Man, so it's day 169, and as usual, I kind of hike out to my car, which is just sitting here now. It's just sort of like a paperweight of sorts, on a larger scale, because obviously I'm not going anywhere. Don't have anywhere to go. Don't really have any money to go anywhere. Don't have any desire to go anywhere. And still hurts. Still hurts. So I guess I'm just doing this as sort of something to do. Yeah, because all I have left really to do is either just lay around in my room, try and get some more problems done before Wednesday rolls around. I have to take that exam. And if I get the will up to do that, it's like one last conversation with HR from the now former employer, or HR of the former employer, and maybe it'll mean one last trip to there to drop off the laptop and all that sort of stuff, and hope I don't run into anyone, or that some sort of a scene doesn't erupt. And yeah, this all like sums up my entire life. I think back to when I was a kid, and people would go up to me and like tell me that that they like these kids would go up to me and tell me like, we don't want to play with you. And I wouldn't get picked for any team. I remember this time that happened, and we were on some like school outing. I don't know if that's the term of field trip. Not really, and I hate the term outing, I guess, nowadays, but school field trip, and the kids, they didn't want to play with me, and I had to go sit off on this bench, kind of like just stare off into the distance. And of course, the mothers of those kids are all sitting around talking trash about me and my family. And it's basically been like that in one way or another my entire life. I really hate this. I really hate this sort of stuff. Because it's not something that makes any real sense. Like, what if I told them I was going to quit, not to mention physical altercations? Like, would I still be working there? And, like, would those two have gotten fired? Would I be the one still employed? Probably not. Still, it's like, I didn't go to that place to be put through this kind of stuff, the kind of crap again. To me, to feel like this. To me, to suffer like this. To me, to reminded that yet again, for one reason or another, I'm not wanted. I'm rejected. It's like 10 years ago, it would have been, you don't have a job, you don't have money, you're not in great shape. All those sorts of things would have played into it, in determining whether or not I was quote unquote sexually attractive. And so the last 10 years spent my life striving for those things, only to end up in a world where it's the polar opposite now. Being the fat, effeminate guy who lives at home is apparently attractive to women. Because it's sort of like what it bequeaths you a personality and a lifestyle that, seems fun and entertaining to them. not weird, not creepy or whatever. Back then it would have been weird and creepy, like to be above, even like 21 or 22 or 23 and be, living at home. And working basically a grunt job somewhere, like that would not have been that which would have made the cut, and just have that introduced into the workplace. Like that's the place you go to make your living and not be around that kind of stuff. And it's like, I want to scream at the world yet again. I get it. You don't want me. You need me to go do this job, make this stuff happen so that you guys can I get it. Just leave me alone. But you can't escape these people. I wonder, like, if I had somehow been able to go directly to the engineering group, would I've had to deal with this? I really don't think so. And of course, the irony is that most of the folks who comment on my videos or watch them, they don't actually have any real solid experience in the engineering field to, like, be able to give me anything of a worthwhile opinion on things. It's basically like worthless stuff because they don't know. They haven't experienced it. They've never been in an engineering profession or been in a group like that, around that kind of crowd, because that crowd is usually, at their youngest in their mid to late 20s and on upwards, And so you're dealing with a whole different demographic where it's like, okay, most of these people are a little bit older, a little more mature. They already have a relationship, so they're obviously not at work looking for one. And I really don't think I would have had to deal with that sort of stuff. And it's yet another motivator for me to just get the hell to where I need to be, whether it's certification-wise or it's, whatever the hell, such that I can apply for an actual engineering position and not be around these kinds of POSs. Because, that girl, she's 2021. Yeah, she got her crummy biology degree. I'm sure it was a case of, well, I thought I was going to be a doctor, but I only got a whatever GPA, and I'm not going into medical school. Or she'll come up with some excuse like, oh, well, I don't like blood or something like that. But now she's trying to become a software engineer, go through some, like, boot camp or whatever. And it's like, that's the kind of person, that she is. That's the kind of person that, I was dealing with. I'm going to put the keys in and try to turn on the air because it's getting kind of hot in here. But, it's like that. And then the other quote-unquote grunts of the company who, it's like, what is it with their lives, Like they have all that stability. They just gotta grind away at things. And, you think about that guy and also that girl, it's like, okay, they're living at home. They don't have anything else going down for them, Yeah, she's taking that boot camp class, whatever the hell. But it's like, it's nothing really, It's not like my situation. And like I said, I'm honestly the opinion that I'm black-pilled at this point. Even like Fresh and Fit, they'll say like, okay, like, here are the rules, here's what's really going on, here's the truth of it. But it's sort of like, only a very small percentage of guys will actually get to take advantage of these, new rules. Everybody else, it's like you're priced out of the market. And I am priced out of the market in one way or another. And I'm black-pilled. It's all stacked against me. And I think the only good thing right now, really, is that I got this whole Nofap streak going, because If you think I'm a mess right now, I'd be like even more a mess if I was fapping. I'm at least able to somewhat hold it together and be able to articulate it without like crying all the freaking time or just staring off into the distance and like, not being able to even make eye contact with the camera, even for a moment. Because, I would end up using PMO to play out all the scenarios of what if I won with the girl, and what if this and that and this and that happened. And like I said before, I'll say it a million, billion, trillion times over, I don't want to be Mr. Responsible. I don't want to be a husband anymore. That's no longer a good deal for guys. It really isn't. At best you get the girl after she's, given it up to all these other guys, and she's basically pining away over that guy who, quote unquote, alpha widowed her, and you just got to get the sloppy, 30 seconds or 105th or whatever. And it's like you're dealing with a population of almost like drug addicts, and they're addicted to the attention of other men, certain small demographic of men. And it's kind of like I saw this article about this female celebrity who I think I come across her, like she's a singer. I come across her on like Wikipedia at one point, like almost like a 6 degrees of bacon sort of thing. She was somehow connected to somebody else I've reading up on or a topic and then reading up on. But it was like she's like in her 30s now, and it's like for her latest birthday she decided to like pose nude. You can probably look up and figure out who I'm talking about. I ain't got no beef with her in particular. I'm just using this as an example. This is kind of like the state of things. If you end up in your mid-30s like me, and you end up running across a girl, like this woman's age, it's like that's what you're really getting. Even if she's like throwing herself at you, because now she needs that guy who earns $65K a year or $100K a year, and all your life you got rejected by those girls. It was just one thing after the next, and you just got your heart broken so many damn times, and the pain is still with you. And it's like, and you're being told like you've gotta be like happier than a clam to have this, that you gotta be happier than a clam to be told that this is what they see you as being worth. So that's your worth as a person. And you can try and lie to yourself all you want to and say, no, my worth is in my degree or my job or my income or my hobbies or my morals, my honor, my virtue, my word. But really, like, they are, at least in part, telling you this is how worthless you really are when they do that sort of stuff. And I'm tired of hearing about like, oh, you gotta have game and you gotta do this, and somehow you gotta get to a point where like, you're 100% validated from all these other things, and you send out, different kind of energy or whatever the heck. And it's like, imagining myself at that point, it's like, why in the hell? If I was at that point, why in the hell would I want to get with anyone? Like, if you're 100% validated by all these other things, you don't need a woman. You might lust after her. You might want her, but see, wanting and lust, that's all like impermanent. That really does change over time. Oh, you might want some woman, but, assuming you've had her, the likelihood is it's going to go away. And then you're going to want another woman, a different woman, etc. And maybe that's the best that a guy can get. I don't know. But if, God forbid, you're at all the mindset that you want something long term and with commitment, like, Like, what is the point? If you have gotten to that point where you could nail 50, 100, 200, 3,000 different women, like, what is it that would make you want to commit to any woman, especially given that, you know, the vast majority of women out there, even if they are demanding commitment, they wouldn't be worthy of it. You know, like, if you spread your legs for some other guy, multiple guys, you know, especially when they didn't have to quote unquote pay the piper, if you will, didn't have to, you know, didn't have to commit, marry you, go through all the hassle of meeting your parents and the rest of your family and going through all of that just to, you know, get their dicks wet. Like, why should any guy commit to you? Heck, what if you have some other guy's child or multiple men's children, the children of multiple men? Why? Why should a man commit to you? Why should a guy who throughout his life was called a creep, a loser, rejected, treated, you know, just as like this, you know, this threat just for merely existing, etc., etc., etc. Why should that guy, if he gets to his 30s or his 40s, and he's like, you know, now he's living the high life, you know, he's got all the money, he can go do this and do that, and, you know, it's you know, financial independence, retire early, like he doesn't have to work, he has gobs of cash, and he can go do anything he wants to with his life. Why in the hell should he have any interest in any woman other than he's horny and he wants to get his dick wet? Why? The vast majority of these women will never have anything to offer long term. And yet we're told that as guys, we gotta be the beta in waiting and sit around and jerk off to porn while we lust after some girl who will never freaking want us, in the hopes that her or somebody else will come along and, you know, take up our offer after they've basically been beaten up, so to speak, left and right by all the guys they actually wanted. Like, this is the reality of life, you know? And, you know, I realized something that you know, this is another indicator that I'm screwed. You know, like, the fact that I know about terms like alpha male and beta male and red pill this and red pill that, like, you know, it's sort of like the guys who talk about that kind of stuff 90% of the time, 95% of the time, 99% of the time, like, you are that loser who will never get the ladies, okay? Because if you really were the kind of guy who's going to get the ladies, get the girls you like, you wouldn't be looking this kind of stuff up. You wouldn't be reading this kind of stuff. You wouldn't be going and searching for answers. You wouldn't need to. You would either just get it, got it, had it, was great, was fun, moving on to the next, you know. You would be that guy. Or you'll be this creepy loser who in his 30s or his 20s or his 40s is having to go, what is all this stuff going on? Why is this happening? Why, you know, why am I divorced 3 times? Or why did I only have 2 girlfriends and, you know, I've been rejected all these times? Or why have I never had a girlfriend or not even gone on a date? Or blah, 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 blah. You wouldn't be that guy. You know? You wouldn't be that guy. And, you know, it's like last night, I ended up having some dreams, and I was dreaming about my ex-girlfriend. And as much as a large part of me knows that it was never going to work out, that was the closest I ever got. You know, there was a time when we had something. There was a time when there was real love there. And there was something going on between her and myself. And those are those moments that, like, I'll always miss. Because even in the big, even if in the big scheme of things, it truly 100% was not going to work out. I felt like there was someone for me. I felt like there was some beautiful woman out there who actually wanted me, and I wanted her. And it would have meant something. Like I could have kept my faith. I could have put my nose to the grindstone, and I could have done what so many guys have done down the generations, where they work. They support their family. They don't gotta think about it. They don't gotta go, oh, does my wife really want me? Does she really love me? Is she cheating on me? They just did their job. They made that money. They had a wife. They had kids who were theirs, by the way. And, having that happen on an individual level, it was like they could go and build a life. They could build a lineage, a legacy. They could do all of that. And, the wisdom of generations could be passed down from one generation to the next because there was an unbroken bloodline. You take that on a massive scale, like society-wide, you'd have a healthy, functioning society. That's their deal. And it felt like for a moment there that I could just have that. And I could be wrapped up in certain things, and I would have something to believe in, something to put my faith in, something to live for, to work for, even to die for. And it seems like people don't understand that about men. And it seems like that was my chance at that, even if it was, glimmering for a moment, and it was never going to really take off. Because there were moments, and it was just her and myself walking down some empty street over in Marrakesh, Morocco. And those are some of the most beautiful moments in my life. They didn't amount to anything, but I had those moments. And I'm not going to have them again. And it's something that, like, my parents never really appreciated or respected. They hated the girl because of her ethnic, racial background or nationality. They didn't understand why I would ever, even for a moment, find any happiness with a woman like her. And, there was that fucking girl in college who couldn't just accept the fact that I already had someone and had to go and do what she did to try and pull me away from, my then girlfriend. And, I say this even realizing that things probably still weren't going to work out. I would have had to go meet the father, gone through all these sorts of things. I didn't speak enough fluent Arabic. He would be asking interrogating questions about how I met her. And my dad would have had to go with me. My dad didn't want to go. It's like he would have rather had me die alone, and never had grandkids of his own rather than have to go out on a limb for me, period. And him and his stupid fucking boomer mentality and his self-serving narcissism, practically. I mean, I don't know if I could clinically label it narcissism, but this whole sort of, this is my plan for you, what the hell are you doing not following my plan for you kind of crap. And, same thing with my mom, and to a much lesser degree my sister. And I really can't blame my sister for any of this. I mean, there were times where she was supporting me, even when my mother and father weren't. But see, it's like even under circumstances like that, where I have things seemingly going my way on the end of the girl and myself, there will always be something, some wrench that gets thrown in the gears and it just won't work out. And in this case, it's like I lost my job because of that. And the other guy gets to have a girlfriend, and it gets to go on merrily like that. And who knows, maybe it'll lead to something even greater in the future. But what about me? What about my life? Nothing will ever form or take place. So anyways, that's my state of mind right now. One of the only reasons I'm really holding it together is because I'm on Nofap. And that's why, even in my darkest moments, I'll still say, I'm pro Nofap when I recommend that to any guy, because it's like, it, at the very least, helps me to hold it together in a mental, emotional sense. I would be a million, billion, trillion times more of a wreck in that mental, emotional sense if I wasn't on Nofap and I hadn't gotten this far along. I don't want to even imagine how that would be. Like, because like in the past, whenever I would end up relapsing and fapping over the girl in college, and I'd be watching stuff where it'd be like, okay, involving a girl from Morocco in said video, with a guy, from the West, that sort of deal. Like, it would impart to me this impression of, oh, this is what I'm missing out on. This is what that other guy is getting to have, and I'm not getting to have, and, oh, what does that say about me? Oh, that makes me feel like trash, blah, 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 blah. That sort of thing. And then it would amplify the amount of anxiety I would feel around that girl when I was in, like, say, in class with her, or I'd see her in the hallway or something like that. It would just cause it to spike even further than if I'd been on Nofap for a significant period of time. Like, if I saw this other girl from our workplace, yeah, it would cause me anxiety. I'd get definitely, affected, but I don't think it would be anywhere near the amount if I was, fapping to the kind of pornography that would, remind me of her. That sort of deal. So, anyways, coming up on half an hour. I'm in some clothes that I got at the old workplace, which I'm trying to go back to. And it's weird, but this feels natural to me wearing this. I never actually got any quote unquote swag from this other company, and I think that's kind of a telling sign, because even though they were trying to get that to me like way early on when I started there, it was like I never got the sense that I belonged there. Like when I started the last company, like they literally handed us, a swag bag, a coffee cup, a jacket, a t-shirt. What else was there? We got a cactus. I mean, my cactus died pretty quickly, but that wasn't that great of a sign. But it's like we got all these things, given to us right away. This nice box, and it was like with a logo and all. It looked really cool. It looked really, really cool. Like, you're being, initiated into some elite, organization or, order or something like that. And it was like, oh, you're one of us now. And they were like super friendly, super everything, and it's like, it wasn't like that at this last place. It was like within a week or two, I was dealing with this guy being a dick to me. And, that's why, again, wearing this jacket, wearing this t-shirt, this feels natural. This feels like me. This is me. I could never wear any of the stuff from that company that I just got fired from, because I never really felt like an insider. Like I think there was like maybe one or two like labs there where I actually had some with my name on it, like a name tag for a hanger or for like a pair of goggles or so. And other than that, I was always having to take the one off the guest rack, which goes to show you that maybe something was, that things were not gonna go and, progress. And it never felt like there was never any warmth to there. But anyways, this is my state of mind right now. It's day 169. I want to try and get some more stuff done, studying wise, and then maybe, I don't know, I don't want to talk to the HR person. I may just text her and basically like leave her an essay and be done with it, because I'm gonna have to drive back up to there, and I hate that. I freaking hate that, especially since it's like 2 days before my exam, and it's like I don't want to see those people anymore. I don't want to run into her, especially if it turns out that she's even been allowed back today or something like that, because it goes to show that it's like the best thing I can do for myself in the long run is just have a way out of this society, because you're always in a frame wherein you're like a peasant, you're a serf, and if the High Lord deems it fitting that you should be executed or you should be whipped or they should deny you basic sustenance, they can just go ahead and freaking do that. And no way in hell will you get any justice. You're viewed as like it's like you're viewed at best as like a necessary evil. Like they need you around because, well, you're a man and you got more muscle mass, or you got an engineering degree, or you got experience in this or that, but like we really don't like you. And because we don't like you, we really don't want you around here. And we'll only keep you here insofar as, until we get done cooking up a scenario or a means or a ways of getting rid of you. It's almost like you hear about these employees of companies over here, and the company decides they're going to cut costs, but they're going to hire somebody from someplace else who they can pay like a tenth or a fourth or a third or whatever, pay significantly less what they'd be paying the people from here. And then it's kind of like they'll have the people from here training their replacements. And it's like, well, once we get to the point where where you have trained your replacement sufficiently as deemed by us, well then you're gone, and we're dropping you, we're getting rid of you. And it feels like that, So the best thing I can do for myself right now is just, get myself the heck out of Dodge. And, maybe if I get the severance package, I can use part of that to pay for certification and some of this stuff, and then I can somehow, if I can, I'll determine if I can even pass the friggin' certification, I can get myself into some sort of engineering position, because I'm pretty much done with all this grunt work. I mean, if I got to go back to the old place and work there for a few months or so, just to keep the lights on, so to speak. You know, that's what I'll do, so I'm not freaking starving. But I'm done dealing with this caliber of people and getting put through this drama and this kind of stress and strain and trauma and pain. Because like I said again, you know, if I have to die alone, and that's just my life, and I'm having to fill up blocks and blocks of time with all these activities just to keep myself busy and at least mentally stable, you know, I'll do that. You know, if it means never having kids or whatever, you know, and I'll tell women to piss off because, you know, I'm done with their crap, you know. But as long as I can keep the lights on and I don't have, like, you know, complaints, allegations, lawsuits, you know, dare I say physical threats against my safety, threats against my livelihood, you know, getting thrown my way by someone who's disgruntled because I wouldn't play their game, then you know what, I'll be okay with that at least, and I'll shut everything and everyone out who's dead set on disturbing my peace. So anyways, it's gone on for a little bit longer than I thought it was going to, and I'm just going to kind of go about my day. So anyways, folks, I'll see you around. Thanks for tuning in for another mope session with me. And maybe eventually someday I might have something far better to be putting up on my channel than something like this, but we will have to see about that. So, see you around, and bye-bye.